Good Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this hump day. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you're being part of my conversation with Melissa Banks, the venue manager for Five Star Event Lodge that's celebrating its open house this weekend. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Wednesday headlines. In national news, Biden urges shots for young adults as variant concern grows. The U.S. government is stepping up efforts to get younger Americans vaccinated for COVID-19 as the White House acknowledges it will miss two key vaccination benchmarks and as concern grows about the spread of a new variant that threatens to set the country back in the months ahead. The Delta variant, first identified in India in the last 2 weeks, has come to represent more than 20% of coronavirus infections in the United States, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported on Tuesday. That's double what it was when the CDC last reported on the variant's prevalence. The Delta variant is currently the greatest threat in the U.S. to our attempt to eliminate COVID-19. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease expert, said at a White House briefing on the virus, "Good news, our vaccines are effective against the Delta variant." He added, "We have the tools, so let's use them and crush the outbreak." The White House on Tuesday acknowledged that President Joe Biden will fall short of reaching his goal of vaccinating 70% of all American adults with at least one shot by Independence Day. But it tried to paint an optimistic picture nonetheless by stressing that the nation had reached that threshold for those aged 30 and older and expects to meet it for those ages 27 and older by the July 4th holiday. Biden also expects to miss a second goal, fully vaccinating 165 million adult Americans by Independence Day. White House COVID-19 coordinator projected it will take several more weeks to hit that number. On Monday, the U.S. crossed 150 million fully vaccinated individuals. In more national news, Watchdog Group says nursing home deaths up 32% in 2020 amid the pandemic. Deaths among Medicare patients in nursing homes soared by 32% last year, with two devastating spikes 8 months apart, a government watchdog reported on Tuesday, in the most comprehensive look yet at the ravages of COVID-19 among its most vulnerable victims. The report from the Inspector General of the Department of Health and Human Services found that about 4 in 10 Medicare recipients in nursing homes had or likely had COVID-19 in 2020, and that deaths overall jumped by 169,000 from the previous year before the coronavirus appeared. Investigators used a generally accepted method of estimating excess deaths in a group of people after a calamitous event. It did not involve examining individual death certificates of Medicare patients, but comparing overall deaths among those in nursing homes to levels recorded the previous year. In more national news, background checks blocked a record high 300,000 gun sales. The number of people stopped from buying guns through the U.S. background check system hit an all-time high of more than 300,000 last year amid a surge of firearm sales, according to new records obtained by the group Everytown for Gun Safety. The FBI numbers provided to the Associated Press showed the background checks blocked nearly twice as many gun sales in 2020 as in the year before. About 42% of those denials were because the would-be buyers had felony convictions on their records. In business news, Fed's Powell says high inflation temporary and will wane. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell on Tuesday responded to concerns from Republican lawmakers about spiking inflation by reiterating his view that current price increases will likely prove temporary. Consumer prices jumped 5% in May compared with a year earlier, the largest increase in 13 years. Republican House members have sought to blame higher inflation on President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion economic relief package approved in March in an effort to retake the House next year. Powell avoided participating in such policy debates despite attempts from both Democrats and Republicans to draw him in. But he said in testimony before a congressional oversight panel that recent price gains mostly reflect temporary supply bottlenecks and the fact that prices fell sharply last spring at the onset of the pandemic, which made inflation figures now, compared with a year ago, look much higher. And finally, in more business news, U.S. existing home sales fall again as prices continue to soar. Sales of previously occupied homes fell for the fourth straight month in May as soaring prices and a limited number of available properties discouraged many would-be buyers. Existing home sales dropped 0.9% last month from April to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 5.8 million units, the National Association of Realtors said on Tuesday. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Your possibilities are only as limited as you allow them to be. You might be filled with idealism about the kind of future you want to create. Maybe you know where you would like to be in your personal, work, or spiritual life. You may just be starting the process of deciding what steps to take. Before you begin taking your steps, know what life you want to create. Now is the perfect time to sit down, write a list of goals, then write down the list of possible actions you take to meet these goals. Give yourself permission to write down any and all ideas that come to your mind. Remember, your possibilities are only as limited as you allow them to be. And as always, enjoy the day.
We have part of my conversation coming up with Melissa Banks, venue manager for 5-Star Lodge in Brandon, Mississippi. Stay tuned, you're listening to Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Melissa Banks, venue manager for 5-Star Event Lodge in Brandon, Mississippi, joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about this weekend's open house. Here's a bit of our conversation. How does it feel to be able to have the open house coming up here in just a little bit?
I am so excited because we have been working really hard trying to just get it together. But the most important thing, Cyrus, that I'm excited about is that people are excited about events again. You know, 2020 was rough on the event industry, and it made us feel like in a place that we weren't comfortable with. So we're excited to see that people are excited about events again, and we're excited to welcome people to the grounds, the entire grounds of 5-Star Lodge.
So let's go into, for those who are just now finding out about 5-Star Lodge event venue, Melissa, I mean, what are some of the things that people can be able to do there?
The lodge is a great location for weddings. We have a beautiful ballroom that you can host your wedding reception. We have an outdoor pavilion if you like the outside with water around it. You can host your event out there as well. But the lodge is also great for informal events like family reunions and birthday parties and graduations because the grounds are vast and beautiful, and you can do things inside and outside, both formal and informal events. It's just a great spot for whatever your event that you're planning.
For those who have not been able to visit 5-Star Lodge event venue, it's located at 252 Clover Valley Boulevard in Brandon, Mississippi. We're going to remind you of that. But Melissa, as I mentioned, you guys have the free open house coming up on Sunday, June the 27th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. I definitely wanted to have you on to talk about that. What can people expect at the open house?
Well, you can expect when you arrive to know that you're at a different type of venue. It's not just a big party place. It's an experience.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll have you guys on tomorrow with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. This made today amazing. Take care.